On a more serious note, why don't you kind of tell everybody, in terms of what you and I decided these last few weeks, just the progression, health and
Yeah,
fitness, mindset, and just a strategy to kind of just
yeah,
help you out.
sure.
Yeah, sure. For again, I don't know how far back you want me to go. For those who don't know, I've been on the program for about a year, seen remarkable success. Went from 230 down to my lowest, which was 171, so roughly 60 pounds, probably 15-ish% body fat down. Went through the went through the water cut. That was when I was at my lowest after the water cut, and started the reverse diet. And the reverse diet didn't, it put me sort of in a bad headspace doing the reverse diet, because I was comparing myself to some of the other members who had gone through the reverse diet, and I had all these visions of what would happen and how cool it would be to eat Reese cups and all that stuff and still lose weight. And none of that happened for me, right? So I put some weight back on, and I was starting to get into sort of a mental funk, right? I've been to enough Zoom chats and I've had enough conversations to know in my head that what matters most is how I feel. But when I would weigh in on those Fridays and I would see the numbers go up, it would piss me off. And then I would go to work, right? I'd be pissed off for a couple of minutes and I'd go to work, right? Do my daily habits. But clearly, it didn't. I like to say that I went right to work, and I did, but it still sort of gnawed at me a little bit, right? And it sticks. The negative thoughts that you have about yourself, they stick with you much longer than the positive ones, right? And it just stuck. And when I was in the Zoom calls for those couple of weeks, it just wasn't as involved, and I wasn't as optimistic, and I wasn't as mouthy as I normally am. So Joe picked up on it, and he gave me a Friday check-in, and God bless him, right? If you do something well and you do something right, he is your biggest cheerleader on those Friday check-ins. But if he sees a disturbance in the force, he will let you know. And he let me know that how, and he described it perfectly. How you react to something, like your first thought when you react to something, you have no control over. But every other thought after that you do. And so he spent the next couple of check-ins actually just trying to get me to a better headspace because he saw the progression. And I've made remarkable strides in my journey, and he didn't want to see that come to an end. So we're like, okay, we gotta treat this cat, we gotta treat the situation a little differently than I'm used to. So what he told me was, he's like, you know what? He's like, you're getting pissed off at the scale. He's like, you know better. And I'm like, I do. He's like, but you're still getting pissed off at the scale. And I'm like, I am. He's like, well, then don't bother. Don't get on it. Don't measure. Don't get on the scale. Just don't. Right? Send me your pictures and I'll tell you your progress. And I'm like, okay, for how long? And he's like, how long do you want to wait? Right. So I think we've probably skipped maybe 2 or 3 weigh-ins, Joe?
Yeah, we're on our 4th week now because we're going to end it, you said, at the end of the month, the 28th.
Yeah, I'm gonna weigh in again on the 28th because that's the day before I leave for Florida. And I took some pictures last week, my Friday pictures last week, and I sent them in, and when you're looking at yourself, all the pictures look the same, right? because you're you're either not critical or you're hypercritical, right? And all you see is the bad things. But even in this last picture that I took, I looked and I thought, ooh, right? I mean, that, there's a significant difference in me, like in my stomach, in my chest from just a week ago. Whether there was different lighting in the room, I don't know, right? But all I know is where I once saw, a little pouch in my gut, I saw flat this week, right? And I think that it has to do with the lessening of the dependence on physical data. Is that, I don't know if I said that right.
It does make sense. Continue.
Just, not seeing the numbers, not seeing I have no idea what I weigh. None. I honestly, I don't really care, right? I care more about trying to get rid of that little pouch, and that, I want my chest to stick out further than my gut. And for the first time in a while, maybe ever, maybe since I was in high school, last Friday, I saw my chest sticking out farther than my gut, right? And that's pretty cool. And I didn't have to go through all that stress of, oh my God, I wonder what the numbers are, right? The body fat percentage from the Renfro isn't telling me I'm below 20%. I really want to get below 20%. I really want to get below 20%, right? So by not doing that stuff, it just sort of eased all that stuff from it's all these things not to think about anymore. So I think it's a success. Now, am I looking forward to getting on the scale at the end of this experiment to see what the actual numbers are? I don't know that I'm looking for. I'm interested, right? But I'm not. I'm getting to a better spot where I'm not beholden to it. I mean, I hope the numbers show up in my favor. If they don't, I mean, I know that I just went out Saturday to meet some friends of mine from work who I haven't seen in a long time. I had, put on a pair of Levi's that were 32-inch waist that I thought I'd have to stuff myself into, and there was room at the waist, right? And I thought, fucking A, that's pretty cool. So, whatever that number says, it ain't gonna beat that feeling of not sucking in my gut to button them Levi's.
So, Bill, you said some amazing things, so much so that this is not just going to be on the Heartletics community group, but dude, this is definitely going on my YouTube as well, because this is fire. You said so many golden nuggets. But before I get carried away, because I'm going to show everybody your photos, right? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I want everybody to see, because I'm telling you, man, just from the few short weeks of doing this, the results, in my opinion, right, are insane. And I want to give everybody a sense of inspiration and hope. But
can I say one more thing real quick? And this is
Bill, you can say as many things as you want, man. Take the mic.
No. Just the last 2 weeks I've been going through a deload. So I haven't been working out at all these last couple of weeks, other than my Spartan stuff. Like no ab workouts, no 3 times a week, nothing.
Isn't that wild? Right?
It was so weird.
You're not even working out, and yet you're getting better results.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's in my happy place.
It's insane. But before we get to the photos, right? Because that's definitely going to be the jaw drop for everybody. You said a few quick things here. For starters, let's go all the way back to the beginning. You said some specifics about, hey, Joe caught this immediately, right? Like, and guys, that's the importance of like doing the check-ins, right? Is having like Mark, Joe, Mike, myself, anybody, any coach that's doing a check-in, right? They can see, and it's just like, this is why we always try to get with somebody on a personal note. This isn't a coach to client relationship. It's a friendship, right? This is what makes it successful for yourself. And also as us as coaches is like, we're building that relationship, where it's like, okay, let's say that, Bill's been on the Zoom chats not really as, positive and upbeat as he used to be. Something's up, right? It's kind of seeing some things now in the check-in forms. It's like, okay, something's up. So like, that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that, Bill, even though you progress so much, right? And you're here after what, a year plus, right? It's just like, you're still, right? There's times of doubt. There's times of frustration. So I want to let you know, right? That's perfectly normal because, hey, guess what? Somebody that's listening right now, maybe they're struggling and they just got started. It's like, hey, you're going to be frustrated in the beginning. You're going to be frustrated in phase 3. You're going to be frustrated in phase 6. You're going to be frustrated in years and years and years to come. That's life, right? We all want something that we can't get. And it's a good thing, honestly, to be wired that way because we're goal-oriented people, right? We're not sitting there like, okay, well, who cares, right? We're not lazy. It's like, no, it's like we're designed to be goal-oriented. So it's okay to be frustrated, right, in the midst of the moment. And this takes me into what you said next, which is the big thing that I want everybody to understand. Quote, end quote, you are never in control of your very first thoughts, but you are 100% in control over your second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. thought. You guys want to learn how to have success in life, not your health and fitness journey, in life. Control your mindset. And what does that mean? Talk to yourself, become your own best friend, right? Like learn how to speak to yourself. And this is why the midweek, check-in video that I'm going to send to everybody on Wednesday, going over, creating a declaration for yourself and, special affirmations to just have a whole different mindset shift. Because once again, it's controlling this. It's getting you on the same page and where you're trying to get to. Because everybody has that good wolf, everybody has that bad wolf, and you all know the one that wins is the one that you feed. Now, as we progress, this is honestly like trial and error with Bill. Just so everybody knows, right? I'm going to show you guys his photos here in a second. You guys will be like, oh, that's amazing. I want to do that. I want to do that. I'll be honest with you. It's hard. Like Bill can contest to this, at least I hope. There's times where he probably wants to step on that scale just to see, right? Just to see. Oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing just to see? And this is where it's hard because in the very beginning stages, right? You're in prep, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, progressing, right? We need that data, right? As coaches, because we're more knowledgeable, right? I'm not trying to be like putting ourselves on a pedestal, but we're more knowledgeable than you guys, where we need to know that collective data of your weigh-ins, your body stats, your progress photos to see how you're progressing and also forecast how you will be progressing. We need that information. But it's going to get to a certain threshold where after that, and you established your habits, right? We're not saying specifics here. We're not saying do this, nitpick everything, be super strict. We're saying overall habits, right? As Bill likes to say, check in the box, right? Which I love. Once you get that down, then it's like, cool, right? Realistically here, let's stop weaning people away from the data, meaning the scale, meaning the body fat, because the overall bigger picture, just like how you mentioned going out with your friends, fitting into those Levi jeans, that's what matters the most. That's your truest form of progression. Because I understand, and hopefully you guys understand after maybe watching the, stress management tips video that I recently just made that's in your, habit playlist. Jason Elder, you mentioned about stress also, right? There's such an importance to that. So everybody thinks stress is the arguments, spouses, paying the bills, right? Like bad boss. It's not. It's typically that first thought that bleeds into a second thought and a third thought and a fourth thought and etc. And you are owning that stress. You're taking full control over it by not shutting it up, by not punching it in the face. And that's why things like affirmations and, meditation and gratitude, right, helps you, because what does it do? It gets you into the sense of you looking at the bigger picture here on what truly matters. And honestly, hopefully, Bill, if we have success with you, right, as we progress, where who knows, right, on the 28th, when you do officially weigh in and we have that collected data to see, regardless if you're higher in weight and body fat, regardless if you're the same in weight and body fat, or regardless if you're lower in weight and body fat, the same thing still applies. You're never in control of the first thought. You're always in control of the second thought. And all of you guys can master that, you'll have success in anything you're trying to do, right? Whether it's losing body fat or whether it's pursuing a new career, anything like that. It's learn how to control this, because when you learn how to control this, you see massive results. And that's what you guys are about to see here in a second. So with that being said, let me do a screen share. Cool. So, Bill, let me ask you a question, actually. Do you remember this guy?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, honestly, can we, before we get to current state, which is a just hell and back difference, right? Night and day. What was this guy all about? Because, you started off, when we hit record with, yeah, so I've been on the program, I lost some weight, but I mean, honestly, it's not about the weight loss. I'm sure there is a whole different mindset, a whole different feel, a whole different persona about you, right? Like, I know you personally, right? And I know the change. And you mentioned everybody has seen the change, not just with this thing here, it's this thing here. But
Sure.
for people that are on today's, coaching call, or maybe listening to this on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, walk us through memory lane. Who was this person?
Oh, that was a guy whose favorite pastime was sitting on the couch watching Netflix, right? I didn't do any exercising. My only physical activity would be, I bowl in the winter, and I played baseball in the summer. But even when I was that guy playing baseball, you could have planted me somewhere, and that's about all the movement I did. Yeah, I didn't do any movement. From a health perspective, I was pre-diabetic and was just about to get I got the call from my doctor talking about what sort of medications that we would need to start implementing to sort of lower my diabetes. That was that guy. And as you can tell from, my face in my picture is pretty stoic, but on that one in particular, it's there's not a lot of joy in that face.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I'm as fat as I was tall.
I can see the look on your face on the Zoom chat and the look on your face right here. And I can tell that two things are going through your head right now. A sense of you feeling proud of yourself, but also at the same time, you probably looking in like disgust. Like,
oh yeah,
why did I let myself get to this?
Yeah, and it happened. I mean, as anyone who starts the program knows, and weight gain is insidious as weight loss is inspirational, right? I mean, it happens so slow that you don't recognize what you've become, right? Because you're living it day to day. Did I ever in my wildest imagination think that I would be, damn near 240 pounds? No, never. So yeah, it happens a day at a time, one bad choice after another bad choice. And not knowing what to do to mitigate that, or I don't want to say reverse it, because reverse sounds permanent, because it's not permanent, but to shift it around.
Yeah.
That's what that guy was.
And this guy, right? Let me go back to your side photo. So this guy went through this coaching program where you learn how to create better habits, right? Simple as checking off the boxes. Hey, let's show up each and every day and focus on just 1% better. Some days we feed the good wolf. Some days we feed the bad wolf. But regardless, we're showing up and we're getting back on track when we fall off. And this is who you became. Complete difference. But
yeah, but that's not even last week. So you're getting the last week's?
I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm getting there. But
so this was probably what, 2 or 3 weeks ago?
This was you when we decided, hey, maybe it's best to not do the weigh-ins anymore.
Okay.
And the body stats. So it's just the, progress photos. So I want everybody to know here, what's the timestamp? Perfect. Right. So right there.
Yeah.
The 29th. So we're fresh, guys. Right now, current state, it's October 16th. Okay. We just started this on the September 23rd. Excuse me, 29th. I don't want to be biased here or anything and say something like, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Can you guys not see, right? If we're just going from, let's say, the chest straight line down, right? And like, let's legit just pinpoint on the midsection. Even I tell you guys, don't pinpoint. Let's just pinpoint on this, right? From here. Can you guys see a difference from this compared to this?
Oh yeah.
Mark sees a difference. Who else?
Yeah, I do absolutely, Mr. Bell.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Everybody? Okay. So here's the timestamp. That was on the 13th. So once again, some over here, the 29th of September to the 13th of October. You know what me and Bill have been doing? Share with you. We have been focusing on habits, right? That's all we've been doing. Once again, he mentioned he's in the deload right now. So the last several weeks, he has not been doing any workouts besides getting his steps in, getting his push-ups in, and obviously doing his sit-ups for his Spartan challenge. But you know what you're not going to find on here? Right, if we're looking at the ones coming up here, over here it says track progress photos. I don't see anywhere about body stats. And once again, like, this is the difference from right here to, let me go to my most recent one. 13. There we go. From right here. So from, once again, few short weeks, end of September to where we are right now. Big difference. Big difference. So, Bill, I know we're running out of time here. I mean, obviously we have a few weeks left before we start and kind of figuring out, hey, so what's the outcome, right? When you do weigh in. I guess the last two questions I have for you is, one, how have you been feeling mentally, right? I don't mean like energetic or anything like that. I mean like headspace, right? Not weighing in, everything like that. Like I said, I know in the very beginning, there's times where you're like, let me just see, right? It kind of, you know, let me just pull it out and just see. I won't track it on the app, but let me just see, right? Joe would never know, right? Integrity. How have you been feeling?
I don't do that. I have my scales in the bathroom, and since we've started this, when I get up in the morning and go use the restroom, the first thing I do is I kind of kick the scale, just boop, right, to give it a little nudge, just as symbolic, right? I don't need you, sort of thing. Am I interested to see what happens at the end of the month when I get back in the scale? Yeah, I am. But again, I don't know what the number or whatever that liar tells me isn't going to change the fact that all of my skinny clothes are loose now. And that's as easy a way as I can put it. Do I want to put myself through because again, the weight number itself, right? I'm going to stay in the 170s. I'm not sure I have a lot of movement in there anyway, right? So I don't really, whatever that number is, I don't really care. I care more about the body fat percentage going down. And even though I know it's that stupid Renfro and it's just a calculation, and I get that, right? I just want to see the number go down. I do. So we've said it all along. The scale's not your friend. It's a liar. It does. So I don't need that kind of lies in my life. I would rather just fit in my clothes or, have to buy new clothes. Right. And that's kind of where I'm at. Joe's last check-in for me, basically sort of set me up, right, in a good way. He's like, hey, you need to start mentally preparing yourself for what happens when you step back on that scale, right? When you step on at the end of the month. He's like, because I don't want that first thought being bad, and I don't want it derailing the progress that we clearly have been making. So I won't let it, because it's a liar.
You pretty much answered my second question there. I was going to ask, so what are your thoughts, obviously, with how you've been feeling, but what are you going to be your thoughts, or at least what are you going to be telling yourself, when you do weigh in? Because yeah, it's kind of like a little mental exercise that you're going to have to go through just to kind of prepare yourself. It's like, personally for me, Mike Tyson, he has the best quote in life, in my opinion. Everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the face. Whenever I would walk out for an MMA fight or boxing match, anything like that, I would be telling myself, right? Affirming to myself, declaring myself, hey, I got this. If this guy takes me down, it's okay, right? I know my jujitsu. Hey, if I get knocked down, it's okay. I'm gonna get back up, right? It's like you have to prepare for the worst. You have to. Not saying to, want that and manifest that, but at least be prepared, right? Let's all be, realist here.
Yeah. Well, what I'm gonna do when that morning comes, I'm gonna get on the scale, and I'm gonna react one way or the other. And then I'm going to put on a pair of shorts or a pair of sweats to go do my work. And I'm going to be like, man, these things are kind of loose today.
Yeah. I love that.
And then, we're going to go from there. Right. And we're going to do our habits. And we're going to be thankful for the progress that we've made. Right. There's a meditation, a Brandon Epstein meditation, one of the first ones you gave me, right? Look how far you've come.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great one.
I can already tell you that the morning that I weigh in, that's the meditation I'm going to listen to when I get downstairs, right? Because it's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. You're a whole different person than who you started, at Heartletics. This has been fun.
Yeah, and again, to the new guys, right? It's like Mark, we were talking earlier, about your stuff, and the thoughts, the back and forth between progress and perfection, it never ends, right? But perfection is unattainable. So let's just live it one day at a time, man. Let's just do the best we can with what we're given on a given day. And that's all any of us can ask for.